Boom. All right. Welcome back, guys, for another wonderful episode of Triggered. We have a very special guest tonight. We had some logistical issues before, but it came back around, and we are here now live with Disgruntle Vets Chappy, the man, the myth, the legend. We always see the name, we see the posts,
Yep.
the following. If I'm correct with the numbers, it's like 623,000 followers now. Like,
Yeah,
amazing.
it's insane.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. I'm so glad and awesome to have you on because it's just an outreach that, again, like we said in so many other podcasts, a network of vets together and working together is so tight knitted that it's just amazing to have other groups like we have, like you have, work together and spread our awareness and our news. So Thank you so much for coming on, man.
Yes, definitely. Thank you.
It is a pleasure. Sorry if I look a little distracted. I'm trying to get this onto Disgruntled Vets.
No, it's okay. It's technology is definitely not my best friend. Definitely not. So just being able to have the podcast itself was to me like a huge thing, let alone have live feed. Which big shout outs, Raul at Charlie Mike Podcast.
Yep.
He hooked me up with the StreamYard and it's been a game changer. Unfortunately, I'm still trying to learn it. I have for about 6 months now, and man, I give all you IT guys hats off, salute, because that shit doesn't make any sense to me. So good for you.
Yeah, it's crazy. So Tony, I wanted to just throw out Chris from Front Stairs Talk podcast.
Yes.
I was talking to him earlier. He sent me that link for Dropkick Murphys.
I saw that.
They're coming to Albany the 14th of March, which is my birthday, and then they'll be down in Boston.
Boston the 17th, right?
Yeah, but I was asking him how his podcast was going and everything, and he's got some big things lined up. So
awesome!
If people are watching and they watch or listen to his podcast, he's got. I don't want to ruin it, but he's got Peter McKinley from New Kids on the Block coming on.
Nice.
He's got a former New England Patriot, and so he's got some big things happening. So shout out to Chris.
Nice. Oh, Brady's gonna be on his show.
Yeah, right.
No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Might be. You never know. But yeah, back to us.
That's awesome.
Chappy.
Yeah. So. That's the thing too, is like that networking and it's that brotherhood. You know what I mean? Like first name basis is great and all that, but just having that brotherhood of like, hey man, how can I help your organization? How can you help us? So on and so forth. And the amount of people I know Justice Triggered has helped and touched. But I mean, I know myself hopping on to the page of Disgruntle Vets, reading the stories, reading the testimonies, and the Chappy challenge. That was something huge. So let's just jump into that, man. Yeah. Can you explain that? Because amazing. You created your own trend.
Yeah. The Chappy challenge. So originally it started, one of my admin wanted to, we started noticing that like everyone was just like really depressed, always down, always wanted to talk about the negative. And we were like, how can we change the mindset of the veteran community in our own little realm? And we started doing these challenges. And then someone like hashtagged it Chappy Challenge. And I did not pick the name, but it stuck. So now what happens is, we ask people to post something positive about their day, their life, whatever makes them happy. And it's definitely just like a mindset change. So instead of always being negative, always, thinking about what's the next bad thing, so you got to stop and smell the roses sometimes, change that mindset. Instead of thinking about what's bad, look at what the good is.
Absolutely. And I can't agree with you more. My biggest thing myself is just mindset. You can look, like you said, look at the negative all you want, but you know what? That's not going to get you anywhere. Look at the positive. Take every breath as its moment. And of course, being vets, and me and Zach also are both firemen, and we've dabbled in the EMS and all that. It's like one of those things, you see so much shit every single day. You see so much shit in the community, and you don't just let it go. and just look at the positive things. So yeah, when I saw the Chappie challenge, I was excited. I was like, this is awesome. Changing that mindset from the negative to positive, and being winter time, being the seasonal depression really spikes up at this point. We're missing family and Christmas time, so on and so forth. Having that mindset change was definitely something that I was so happy to see. I mean, it was amazing.
And that's what the really cool thing about Disgruntled Vets is. Our admin are always trying to think, how can we affect the veterans that are in our realm? So we've, with the height of COVID, we put out different challenges where, we had geotags all over the country, and they could go find those geotags and win stuff. We're always trying to push the envelope and just, yes, we are disgruntled, but the ultimate fact is we want everyone to be gruntled. It's easy to be angry, but harder to be happy.
Absolutely. It's one of those things too, and Zach, you can definitely adhere to this. It's so easy to complain and bitch and say, oh, this isn't going right, this isn't going right, but to stop and say, hey, damn, I woke up this morning. That's a win for the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Putting your feet on the ground, and well, I know with me, I can barely feel my feet and ankles, the neuropathy and all that fun shit. But to be able to feel your feet, be able to feel your hands, and feel the warmth of the sun, like today up in New York, today was a beautiful day out. Yep. Yesterday was beautiful out. Just taking those small things like that and appreciating it, smelling the fresh air. There's just stuff that people take advantage of every day.
Yeah, and what was, what came out of that Chappie challenge, some of them were really simple. One guy, he was like, this is my first day sober. That was a huge one. Another one was,
huge.
I woke up today. He was happy. He tried to commit suicide, I think like a month ago, and now has a different view on life. And he was just happy he woke up. And it's crazy how we forget about the little things.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Sometimes you got to you got to put yourself in other people's shoes.
Mm-hmm.
That's that's the way I look at it most days now. So I work for a motorcycle shop, and I deal with people on a daily basis. So it's a great job, and some days it sucks because you got the person bitching over the phone, or they're the keyboard warrior, but you got to understand where they're coming from. If you put yourself in their shoes and understand, like, hey, my part was supposed to be delivered today, but it's not. What the hell's going on? Where is it? And some days you got to treat it with kids' gloves, because you don't want that negative review, because that your business is based off of that. And so it's everything I look at now is I try to look at the positive side of things. I was always bitching and complaining about things. I still do, but
Well, what did they say in the Army? If the soldiers aren't bitching, there's something wrong.
Yep.
Facts.
Yep.
Yep. That's so true.
Yep.
So true.
But the stuff that you guys put out over there, and it's just not only the memes but the challenges. It's all around amazing of what you guys do.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So what I want to know is how'd you get the start? How'd you come up with it?
So funny story. Well, there goes my cat. Apparently she wants to be in the video.
Oh, we have dealings with cats too. Don't worry.
Oh, it's good times. Good times.
Yeah.
I was actually in Afghanistan. We just finished up. So we're like on that weird, we're not going back yet, but we don't have a job. And this was 2013, 2014 timeframe. So politics were very heavy, and we were just, we're listening to the news, watching things on social media, And, we're actually living it. And when we go try and talk about it on our own social medias, like our personal pages, people just didn't understand. Cause like all of my friends that were, military were all in Afghanistan with me. They weren't,
Yep.
they weren't at home reading my messages or anything. So it was just really frustrating. And me and a few of my buddies, we wanted to create an outlet to where we could just be angry and vent a little bit. So when we were in Afghanistan, we're like, so what do we call it? And I was like, well, what about dysfunctional veterans? And both my friends look at me and they're like, that's already a page, you idiot. And I was like, well, what about disgruntled vets? And they're like, yeah, that works. So
let's Google search it real quick to make sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny thing is I spelt it wrong the first time. So I had to go back and fix that. But it was originally just venting. And we would just, whatever made us mad or laugh at that moment. Nothing serious. It was just like two other guys that I served with. And then once we got home, everyone kind of forgot about it. I kept it going. And then it really didn't take off until I met my wife, when she was like, hey, you have like 5,000 people that are following you. Like, you could do something with this. Mm-hmm. And I'm telling you, like, I had a picture of a gingerbread man as my like logo, that's missing a leg, saying I lost it in Nam. Like, totally everything about this page was like not professional. So
I think I saw that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, shit was funny.
So my wife, or then girlfriend, she was like, let me make you a logo. And we started making things like professional and got more admin involved. And then it just kept on growing and growing and growing. And yeah, here we are today.
That's awesome.
Nice.
That's a great story.
Yeah,
it's good to have. Go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
It has been a struggle, but we're here.
It's so good to see that you guys came up again from literally nothing to just a venting thing. Like me and Zach have triggered. We started out the same way, just to get stuff off our chest, and then growing to where we are and seeing you guys grow that way. That's such an amazing thing. What were some of the struggles that you guys had to deal with getting to that next level? Like, because there's always that point where like you grow and then like plateaus, and then you grow along plateaus. What were some of those obstacles you guys had to have?
The first one is volunteer staff. So right now we're about 30 volunteer staff, and so originally we started, and I asked all of my friends, like, hey, you want to help me out? And they all felt like they were just doing it to do me a favor. So they didn't put their heart into it. So once we got to a point where people were like, yeah, I want to be an admin, finding admin that were not a part, that I didn't know personally, and they wanted to join because they love the mission. That completely changed things. And then that worked for a while, but you're still going to find crazy people. So we've hired some crazy people before.
Oh yeah.
And, dealing with, 30 different personalities is not always the easiest. So it used to be like, I would go in and train the admins how I want them to do things. Cause Disgruntled Vets, we also do we're like CLS. So if a veteran comes to us with a problem, we not diagnose like if it's a mental issue, but like in our own way, we diagnose like, hey, they have this problem. This is the solution. So if the solution is, hey, they just need to talk a little bit, get it off their chest, then we're there for them. If they need like actual medical professionals, we get them to them. If they're homeless, we have resources for them. If they're hurting on money, we have resources for them. Basically they come to us, we find out what the problem is, and then we give them resources to fix it.
That's so amazing.
It's thank God for my admin. I don't do it anymore, but it is definitely a crazy thing. We've had veterans come to us that are like suicidal in that moment, and they won't tell us, you know, all they say is like, hey, I'm gonna kill myself. Well, you have to take every threat like that serious.
Yep.
But they
Absolutely.
don't give us like, you know, where they're located. They don't give us a phone number. They're just like, I'm gonna kill myself. So we've literally found people by, you know, crazy things like they have a picture of them with a boat, and then we go back and find the boat registration. So then we find out their real name, their location, and then we get the help to them. So like
Wow.
things like that. Or like
Okay.
there was a guy, he didn't have a helmet on while on a motorcycle. So there's only a few states that allow that. And then we compared those states with what the geography looked like and found them then. Like it's crazy things like that, of how we've helped people.
That's
and then
awesome.
Now, since we've grown and, you know, we reach a few million every month, our biggest thing is raising money for other charities. And like last year we raised 100,000 for multiple different organizations, but I forget where I'm going off this. Oh, difficulties.
Difficulty, struggles, yeah.
Sorry, I went on a huge tangent.
No, that's fine.
Staffing by far is one of the biggest problems, but it's gotten better because we got to a point where I don't touch that, and I don't pick the people. I don't interview them. We have an entire HR section of Disgruntled where they go find who they think is the best fit with Disgruntled, and as long as I don't pick it, it's usually someone good.
Well, it's a hard filter because you know what you want, but then the business needs something that they want, like the business side of it, and to mash all of it together is a lot of times very difficult. We've been able to work with a lot of great people this past year and few months now, Zach, I'd say.
Yeah. Yep.
Which is awesome, but it's really tricky because there's people who I've met in markets, I've met in random stores. You know, you see a tattoo or a certain shirt or something, and you start talking to them, and you would love to have them on the show, but there's that filtering process where it's like, as much as I want to hear your story, we can sit down, have a drink, and talk about your story. I'm all about that. Help the vets.
Yep.
But then as the content side of it, it's like, is it safe in the sense of like how crazy are they going to go? You know, our show is totally uncensored, uncut, unedited. There's no extra fluff. You know, we've said this time and time again. And we were laughing about the whole cat thing. One of the first episodes we had, my cat literally knocked down a whole box of, I think it was like nuts or cereal.
It was pretzels.
It was pretzels.
I remember it was pretzels.
Yeah. So we're talking, having the show, and we're doing a good job. Like, it's one of our first shows. We're rolling really good. Everything's flowing. And then all of a sudden, just meow, and you hear the scatter of everywhere. And I'm like, well, fuck, there goes that.
Yep.
But at the same time, like, you don't want to put out things that, you know, if we're offensive, we really don't care in that sense. That's why we call ourselves Triggered. You know, we want to stir that pot a little bit to get those conversations started. But we're not going to be assholes and jump on and be like, fuck you, you're a scumbag, fuck this, fuck that. Like, no, there's still that line you got to create good content and ultimately heal people and help people. You know, if you're an asshole 100% of the time, no one wants you. No one wants to talk to you.
Yeah.
So we don't want to go down that path. But, you know, that's so amazing, though. Again, going back to it, to your struggles that you were able to overcome, find the proper staffing, and build your business to the way it should be, you know?
Oh, yeah. And like, I'll put it this way, like, I've deployed and people wouldn't know I was deployed, besides like I wasn't on a video, or like if I was on a video, it was like literally me in my little whack shack. You know what I mean? So awesome. Yeah, the team we got now is insane. They're all crazy. They're every single one of them is certified crazy, but the good kind of crazy.
Yeah. That's awesome though. I mean, like, the people that you help and it's kind of like the army all over again. You'll give them the tools, but it's on them to follow through.
Oh, and dude, that's by far one of the biggest struggles I have, because I'm a fixer. You know what I mean? I just want to go in and fix problems. And it, like, when we're talking about a veteran, like, you could lead that person to water and they will not drink. They'd rather suffer and tell everyone that they're suffering than, go take the tools and help themselves.
Then take the straw and get water.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is so true. Go ahead, Zach. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Hip hop scotch. But no, that's, I think that's one of the biggest problems we have as vets, is that we don't ask for help. We have too much pride. We have too much, oh, I can't ask for help. I'm still, I'm okay. I know for myself, I always kind of put myself in a position where if I need a little bit of help, I don't ask, but it's like, oh, it wasn't as bad as it was back XYZ in a certain time where things are worse, when in reality, things could still be bad.
Yeah.
And we just put ourselves in a prideful position.
If you ask for help early, things won't get worse.
Absolutely.
Ask for help when it's, hey, like, I'm short $100 for a bill, not, hey, I'm thousands of dollars in debt, can you help me? It's like,
right,
bro, like, at that point you need to just start praying to God. Like, I guess it's okay.
It's funny. So you say you literally just take the little thing in my mind. So I don't know if you follow Eric Thomas at all. He's a motivational speaker, businessman, awesome fucking guy. And if Eric ever follows this podcast on this episode, mark my words, you will be on the show one day. I'm going to hunt you down and find you and get you on in a non-threatening way, but it's going to happen because he just has so much good things to say, and like he's been through the shit. So he said, and this is funny, he goes, I'm all about praying. Praying helps so much. And again, doesn't matter what religion, faith you are, it does help. It's that whole spiritual mindset, all that other stuff. And he goes, I forgot what episode it was. He says, man, praying helped me get over this. It helped me get over that. He goes, but when you go to the gas tank and try to fill your car up, you can't pray that the gas just goes in there. Like, you still got to have money. Like, you just can't pray and hope that something pops up. Like, that's not how it works. Like, physical things aren't going to happen because you prayed for them in that sense. It's more or less the metaphysical things, like illnesses and stuff like that. And it was just so funny how he correlated, like, yeah, praying, that's good to do, but at the same time, like, you still gotta be in action. You still gotta do things on your own. It's just not gonna poof like magic out of the air and all of a sudden, oh, my car's filled with gas now. Shit, I don't know what the gas is down by you guys, but up here it's what, 360, 370.
It's 379.
Get ready, it's about to get worse.
Oh yeah.
Yep. I don't even want to go down that rabbit hole, but just saying. Yeah, so let's go. We have about 7 minutes left of this segment. Let's get into the topic of, as we were saying before, MOSs and how they changed, because there's just so many. So we have a good friend, her and another one of our friends are going to be on the show Friday, and she served in a time where the MOSs were a little bit different. As we were saying off air, I had a friend who was telling me some MOSs that he served in that were from the old army, we'll say. So first and foremost, you said you were a 12 November. Was that what you were right off the rip? And are you still technically a 12 November, or did you have to reclass?
Yep. So I started off as a heavy equipment operator. Then after my deployment, I became a chaplain assistant. When I was going to college to become a full-on chaplain, hence the call sign Chapi.
Yep.
Then I ran out of GI Bill because I was National Guard and I only had one deployment, so I only had 60% GI Bill. So went to active duty. They wouldn't accept my because I was Guard and reclassed in the Guard. They wouldn't accept that as a active duty reclass. So I went back to being a 12 November, and I am still a 12 November.
Okay. Well, definitely bless you, man. I feel again, no matter what faith or religion you are, having a strong faith and having that kind of belief behind you is huge. And I'm sure you can contest to this. It doesn't matter what faith you are. I'm not a minister in my religion or a priest, priestess, whatever they want to call it, just to kind of Barney style it down because my faith is a little different than most. But I can only tell people what I know and educate them from what I know. But any faith you believe in will move on you and help you in your ways and down your path if you actually believe and you open your eyes to it. Would you agree with that?
Oh, yeah. My philosophy on life is with religion is it's a mountain theory. There's many different paths to God. It's your choice to figure out which path is for you.
That's awesome. That's great. And it sucks too that like they didn't take your recognition from like trying to reclass and do that, But again, that goes into that military politics, which is a whole nother game that sucks.
I switched over to active duty in 16, and in 17 is when they changed like all the rules because they were hurting for people. Like,
Yep.
So if you came in in 2016 and you were an E5, right? They would bump you down to E4 to go active duty. And I have a friend, he just made E5, went over to active duty, got bumped down to E4. I was like, man, that sucks. Cause like maybe like 7 months after he got in, I had friends that were E5s that they were like, you're promoted E6 when you get over here.
Wow. That's crazy. Yeah. When I went to AIT, and Zach, you can definitely chime in on this because you know how this game goes. When I went for AIT, I went for 92 whiskey water treatment. And I had two guys. One guy was, I forgot if he was reservist or National Guard. I forgot which one. He was E4, but he had been for a little while, and he was airborne, reclassing to a water treatment. The other guy was an E5, and he had just picked it up because he wanted to reclass so that he could pick up his E6 in like 2 years or something.
Yeah.
It was like a weird, our whole class actually consisted of, and I had one guy who was, and this was really fucked up on the part of the Army, but hey, it is what it is. He was an E6 in the Marine Corps, multiple tours. I think he had like 3 or 4 tours under his belt. Went to the Army because he wanted a better life, than just, kicking down doors. And he went for water treatment. They demoted him to an E5 into the Army. He got his water treatment, all that, got stationed, which I'm not going to disclose that, and then ended up with the wrong girl and actually got booted out of the Army as a specialist, as an E4, from an E6 Marine to an E4 Army, and lost half of his pay.
Yeah, there was a guy that came over from the Marines because he was he was out for a little while, and then he tried to get back in, and the Marines wouldn't take him because their tattoo policy is a lot stricter than, the Armies or the National Guards. He's got a huge, he's a big black man. I mean, he's huge. So he has a Eagle Globe and Anchor on his back. Well, the top of the tattoo just sticks above his neckline, probably about 1/4 of an inch, and they wouldn't let him get back in to the Marines. So he came over to the Guard, and he was demoted from E5 to E4 just so he could get into the Guard. He had to take that loss, which was, I mean, I don't see. Maybe I might not understand why it happens, but I know their ranks are different than ours are.
Well, yeah, they get leadership at like what, E4 is technically
E4.
Technically
like E4.
They're team leaders.
Yep.
Their E4 is our E5.
Yeah,
is basically how it plays out. So
now,
basically, yeah.
Well, there's a corporal thing too. That's like a parallel specialist to
Yeah.
corporal, where a corporal's technically an NCO, but not really. It's like you're smacking me like, dude, you're so bro. Come on, like,
Yeah,
fucking
So
take that shit.
you
You're
make
still shamming.
corporal now. Once you go to BLC or what you guys knew as WLC,
Yep.
once you go to that, you automatically get promoted to corporal. So you could have like 4 corporals in a squad.
Yep.
That's crazy. Like,
Yeah. Once you go through that course, you're automatically promoted.
So I had a bunch of E4s who did good work, and it was like right at the time where they're transferring out, you know, going to either a different unit or retiring, whatever, and they were trying to pick it up. And they were E4s, good dudes and females, went to BLC, came back as full sergeants, and did great work. Then there were some that came back as corporals, and they were complete shitbags because they were like salty about it. So like, I wish we could dig into it and find out the research of like what actually makes the where the differentiation of corporal and sergeant comes in, because BLC or WLC is all the same. It's still the same thing. It's nothing, you know, it's still the same class. It's what you get out. Like, did they not have enough points? Did they not have? There's so many factors involved.
Yeah,
and it's crazy with the National Guard too. I mean, it's like a fuck game with the National Guard. I mean, you have those cliques, and it's more serious in the National Guard if you're not in a clique. Like you have your S1 clique, you have your people that are in the talk all the time. You know, if you're not in those cliques,
you're not getting
even though
schools.
Even though you're up for it, you're not going to go to school for one. You're not going to be the first one on that list. They're going to put all their buddies first before anybody else. It's true. It is true, because I didn't go to school for a long time because I wasn't in that clique. I wasn't taking their bullshit. And
I just got into the reserves, and they're the exact opposite. They're like, holy shit, like, you just got to this unit, you want to go for your E6? Like, let me send you to your E6 school. I just got a text message earlier today. They're like, hey, do you want to go to airborne? I'm like, we're not an airborne unit. And I'm like, I know better. I don't want that 10% for my knees, all right?
Yep, that shit is so funny you say that, brother. Oh my god, I'm laughing inside so hard right now.
Yep.
So I went to airborne school. Of course, 41, because my roster number was 722. You know, I was knowledgeable of, I knew the Army was a numbers game, but I didn't realize it until you have 120 in a graduating class at most, and they have 1,000 recruits. I literally saw Lieutenant Colonel extended PT score fail the airborne push-ups. Like, how does that even happen? It's just a numbers game. But to this day, like, my knees are still fucked up. My ankles are fucked up. And again, that's because I blew my knee out running at Fort Drum and stuff like that. Everything happens for a reason. But,
not the multiple jumps that you did, not learning how to fall.
No, that shit.
It's the pothole in the ground.
That fucking pothole, fucking nut hand that motherfucker like a son of a bitch.
That pothole saw you coming and like, yep, let me just slide over in front of him.
Like this.
Fuck you up.
I got you, guy. That motherfucker was bad. And side note, funny story. Me and my wife went up, and my daughter went up to Fort Drum a few months ago, and that pothole that I was running that I blew my knee out on is still there. They still have not fixed it.
It's Fort Drum. They're not going to do anything up there.
They throw a stick in the ground with
that there. Remember when you said it was a numbers game? Well, they have to get so many people out of the military. They leave that pothole there to get people out of the Army.
It's a pleasure. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. But when I first got to Fort Drum, my sergeant, at the time she was a specialist, she was actually going through BLC, and my sponsor, I should say, took me on. And she's best supporter since day one. So Sergeant Vic, thank you so much for supporting us. She actually picked up her E6 down in 101st. So congratulations. And she's medically retired out. So good for her. But she pulled me in and was like, hey, what schools do you want? What do you want out of the Army? and she was like, let's start signing you up. Let's get your I forget what they are, the classes you do on the computer, the JRC or whatever. I forgot what all those fucking bullshit classes, your hazmat, all this bullshit. And it was
Can't
like
cheat on them anymore.
Oh,
They got rid of cheating.
They got rid of cheating?
Yeah.
Because that shit took so much time. And I was blasting through them. I took my BLC pre-course so that as soon as I hit E4, it would be like 2 weeks. Like I was fast-tracked. I was ready to go. You know, hard charger, warfighter, all this shit. And then that fucking pothole 1 PT morning fucking got me. And it was like, okay, all this work for boop. Nope, never mind. Good luck. You know, but
man, I can't believe they got rid of cheating.
Fuck. That's some bullshit there, because those classes were bullshit. 90% of them online, they really were. I mean, everyone goes through Sharp every 2 weeks. Everyone goes through E.
I took my SSD1 and SSD2 over in Afghanistan.
That's what they were. SSD1. That's what it was. That's what I was thinking of.
Like 2 computers set up, looking at one. You know, can't do that.
One for the you know, the cheats. One for the actual. I got to plug this in.
Exactly.
Yep. SSD 1 and 2. I wonder if they're still doing it.
It's now called DLC. Yeah, DLC. And
really?
Because the Army has changed so fucking much. So like when you went to like BLC or BLC, WLC, whatever you want to call it, like they actually like you went to the field, you did field stuff.
Yep.
You know, you learned a little bit about counts. You don't do that anymore. It's paperwork. Literally, you're there writing essays, right? So you take these classes to that, and whatever you score on those classes is your starting grade at your next school. So if you got like 100% on SSD1, then you're starting it with 100%. But if you started with a 70, then you're going in with a 70.
Oh, wow.
That's fucking weird.
Yeah.
That is really weird.
But yeah, they got rid of like all hands-on stuff. It's literally typing essays.
That scares me.
Yes.
I will be real. That scares me.
Like during the pandemic, BLC was virtual.
How?
This is like one smart right now.
That's mind-blowing. Wow.
I understand they took away land nav because we have satellites and shit that can send you chords. Okay, that still fucked me up because I loved land nav. I thought that was one of my favorite classes. But I understand technology, like we can just ping it in, not even our phone, but the laptops, you know, we have in the field and stuff. I understand all that. But how can you be a leader without like
hands-on training?
Yeah, I'm just like mind blown.
Yeah.
So when we're in Russia in the next couple months, which thank you, Russia, we opened up you coincidentally on the podcast.
Yeah, because they're tapping in on shit. That's why they're looking at us.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Send Putin my best regards. Well, fuck, like when we're like hitting the shit, how do you like? Oh, hang on, Mr. Terrorist or whoever it is. Let me type up a counseling for you real quick here, sir.
Yep.
Like, how is that? Wow, that really blows my mind.
Everything is all about the counselings. When you go, you know, to your schools, it's like how it's all about paperwork. And when you're going from E4 to E5, it's all about counselings and progressing that way. Actual leadership and like taking charge of like a squad or a platoon, like that's no more. Like what they say is that's what you should be learning at your unit. Now, we all know you don't have like if you're a very high tempo unit, you don't have time for that shit.
No,
it's like you go. And if you can, you put your E4s in charge of things, but like you don't have those opportunities all the time to like let them fuck up.
Yeah.
Right. And that was the thing I know with my unit, and Zach, you can definitely give it a different variation with my unit. We did a lot of fuel. We did fueling we were on aviation, so planes, helicopters, all that stuff. And there were multiple missions every single day. So it wasn't 90% of like what we did was the PMCS and getting dispatches ready, getting the fuel tested because, oh, this truck's down now. Okay, we got to get this truck ready to go because we have to ship, 1,000 gallons out to this unit, or, oh, we need 2 or 3 trucks. Now that's multiple dispatches with the correct size of fuel, because it was all in parameters and testing, and we were division wide. We just weren't on ASB. We were division wide of all Fort Trump. Our fuel was like the best fuel to have, so they would always call us. So we didn't have time for fuck games. Like if you had counselings to do, yes, like I was very fortunate when my platoon went to Afghanistan. I had to stay on rear D because I was getting medically discharged, and I ended up getting stuck with fucking 8 shit bags, and I had to do counselings for them, which was whatever, but still those missions still had to continue on. Like we still had Charlie Mike, so it's like trying to get all that, like you had no time to actually say, okay, well, let's sit down and let's teach everyone. No, it was fucking Google search, fill in the blanks, plain simple. That was it. Army,
it's like going back to like counselings and paperwork, and there's still E5s that can't even do paperwork.
Yeah,
like they can't even do their what's it called,
NCOERs.
Yes, thank you. They can't even do those. There was a bunch of guys in my unit that like they would have to redo them 5 or 6 times because they don't know how to write one. And counselings were they just handed you a piece of paper, like didn't even explain to you what the counseling was for. So it's like, are they actually paying attention in these classes?
Dude, the way the Army has changed, it would blow your mind. Because there's this whole people first initiative, right? Which, when you first say it, you're like, okay, that's good. Like, we should be caring about our people more, Let's worry about their home life and all. But it's all just paper shit bullshit. Like, you literally just, like, you have to have a picture of your like, if you're an NCO, you have to have, like, a picture. You have to know their, like, parents' name, their wife's name, they're like
they're going to know the wife's name. They're fucking Jody's. Fuck that shit.
Like you have to fill out all this paperwork instead of actually getting to know your soldier. And like, I feel like when you're an NCO, you have to care. That, like, that's 90% of your job. Like, you don't actually have to like these people, but just caring about them. To make sure that they're okay.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. The Army is just, it's insane. It's insane.
I mean, I gotta say, my NCOs that I had, and there was a vast majority of them, because when I got to my unit, there was a lot of turnover. There was a lot of new NCOs, old ones going out, new ones coming in, new first sergeants, new commanders, and they all really cared. They knew me by the first name, but of course, it was always like, "Oh, Latour, you're a shitbag still," like that kind of thing. But at the same time, like at the end of the day, it was still about business. It was still okay. So I know this is going on. You can barely walk, but you got to be in the office by 09 after your appointment. Roger. And I fucking hobbled throwing my knee up on that fucking step if I had to.
Like,
whatever.
My question is, like, if you can't do anything, what the fuck is the point? Like, did you hear that soldier? There was a soldier that was dying of cancer, right? Dying of cancer. They couldn't drive anymore, right? Could not drive. So they had someone pick this soldier up to bring them to work where they couldn't do anything. And that's the kind of shit where it's like someone needs to have some common sense and be like, hey, like, you can't do anything. Why don't you go worry about you for a little bit? Like, you're not going to impede the mission because you can't fucking do anything anyway. Like, you're already fucked. Like, no offense to broken people, but like, you're already fucking us. But let's, go fix yourself so you don't fuck yourself up anymore.
Right.
And we don't have to worry about you. You go do you.
Exactly. That was one good thing I got to say about myself was like, I was able to get into the office for the most part. I wish we had an elevator. That would have helped a lot. But, get in the office and I could do all the dispatches. I could do the paperwork side. I was good at that because my hands weren't broke. It was just my fucking knee. But then they wanted me to do early PT, regular PT, what they called knee classes, which was like physical therapy, and then remedial PT afterwards. I say, I'm not going to fucking run 2 miles. Why are you making me break myself even more? Like, this is stupid. And my new first sergeant came in, and he was like, bro, like, I remember this, he was like, bro, we're going to stop all this bullshit. He's like, you're already getting medically discharged. Why don't you, like, what are you good at? And I'm like, at that time, you're so entangled in the military, you don't really know what you're good at. You're just good at what you're told to do. So I'm like, I can do paperwork good, dispatches. I know how to test the fuel. And he's like, if I stick you in the office and you can do paperwork, that will help out your platoon sergeant a lot. It'll help out your sergeants a lot because then they can go do that fuck bullshit and babysit. I'm like, Roger, I can still be useful to a unit. And he's like, you still got to be here on time. You still got to fucking show up for PT, all that. But when we're doing PT, you head right to the office and start work. Okay, cool. Too easy. And it was a good game. Like, it was able to help everybody out until I finally got out. But it's like, I totally agree with you. Like, you got a dude dying of cancer. Why even like, they should be going to his house, fucking making sure he's good, making sure his family's good. Unfortunately, setting up the arrangements to make sure his family's going to be good afterwards as well. Like,
oh, no. This soldier died after they kicked him out, and the Army, and the whole reason he even got this far was because the Army botched a surgery, and is now their family's fucked.
That's crazy. Well, I mean, we had our good friend, I call him Tallyman, but our good friend come on, and he was explaining about the how the VA fucked him over in the sense of like the inconsistency with the VA when he was in the Marines and gave him a septic, his body sepsis and spread infection throughout his whole body. He almost died because the VA dropped the ball. And
are you talking about Tally?
Yep.
Yeah, Brian Tally.
Tally.
I was like, hold on, I know that story.
I know this guy. It is. It's amazing. And they're like, oh, well, oops, sorry. Oh, well, you're a day late.
If you want to talk about the VA, do I think that there's good parts of the VA? Of course. They're trying to help. But it's an organization problem, right? None of their systems talk to each other.
Right.
They have no consistency. The departments don't talk to each other. So I got Disgruntled got invited to actually talk to the VA, right?
That's awesome.
We made enough stink about the VA that they brought us in, and they were like, hey, can you help us? And so their big thing of how they wanted us to help was they had an app, right? And they're like, this app really works. Like, we have all this testing, help us get this app out. And I was like, guys, you have a social media of like over 1 million on Facebook.
Right.
But the app people didn't know the social media people, who also didn't know their podcast people, because yes, they do have a podcast.
Yep.
And the app, so the app was for PTSD, right? So you would think, since it's a VA app, you could then go to your doctor and be like, hey, look at my results. Your app is telling me these are my problems. Nope. So like everything is segmented. To talk, like if I was in, social media, their social media department, to talk to their podcast people, I would have to go to my director. My director would have to get that approved by his director to then go down to the podcast director.
Crazy.
That's just to talk to them.
Wow.
And this is just marketing. Could you imagine what happens in like the actual medical side of things?
That's insane. That's absolutely insane. I mean, there's so many specialists and more than just general medicine of, oh, you have a sneeze, here's a little, here's some NyQuil. I mean, I'll just use myself as an example. Yeah, my knee's messed up. And then you have that domino effect of your ankle, your hip, your back, and it goes on. So now here in Schoharie County, which I'm very fortunate, I had really good doctors. My main PCM, my main doctor says, nope, we're going to get you hooked up with an orthopedic. Now, they're talking on the same network because we have things called EMHRs, emergency medical or electronic medical records, EMRs. So we have that, and they talk to each other like, okay, here it is. Here's your results from this. Here's your labs. Here's this. Here's that. And it's all on one system. You can't heal somebody on a physical side if you don't have all that together. If you don't have that full story, that full painting of the picture of what's actually going on with them. On top of the mental side and maybe the chemical side, again, the labs and all that, and then the spiritual side. You can't heal a whole entire body unless you have this bigger picture. I couldn't even imagine trying to go, and I'm just saying because I went to Syracuse VA, which was a clusterfuck for me, trying to get into and get a surgery done and not have those different people talk. What if I was allergic to, let's say, propofol, which is an anesthesia, but then they give me propofol because they didn't read, oh, I'm allergic to this, and now I die on the table, or ketamine, or any of the other anesthesias. Like, crazy. Crazy. You know, it just drops the ball.
Sorry, this is topics like this.
I love it, man.
This is when I get disgruntled.
Let's
I'm all about.
Let's go.
Yeah,
that's what
I can get heated on this topic. I just because our platform, so many people come to us and they're like, "This is how the VA fucked up," and I'm like, I can give you ways to try and circumvent that, but I can't fix the VA.
Like, the VA needs to fix the VA.
You gotta be like a Tolly. We need 8 million more Tollies in the community.
Yep.
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
definitely.
If not more.
So, I think there are good parts of the VA. Don't get me wrong. I don't know. For some reason in my mind, I just think the people are there for a paycheck. You kind of get what I mean?
Oh yeah, and well, it's like any government agency, man. Once you get in, you can't get fired.
Yeah.
Yep. And the VA has been around for so long, and it's such a money. There's so much money pumped into it that the bureaucracy, I would say, I would like to say that the people like where boots meet pavement, they want to try. You have a lot of veterans that actually go work for the VA. They want things to work. Yeah. But when you have the bureaucracy of everything that just beats them down, and every time, once they take one step forward for maybe a patient, they get beat back too. How many times can you get beat down before you just go, well, I guess this is the system we're living in?
Yeah, true. It's crazy that like none of their shit communicates.
Yeah, when we're talking about an overhaul of the VA, that's got to be like number one. Is just they need an intern. Like they have a podcast like for the workers of the VA about different programs within the VA. Like people in the VA don't know what's going on in the VA. Like that just blows my mind.
Yeah.
And that's a problem. That's a huge problem. Because any other business, any other organization, you have to have communication between departments. I mean, that's the only way a business can succeed. I mean, that's not even business 101. That's just common sense 101.
Well, it's like the Bassett healthcare system around here.
Yeah.
Let's say you go to Cobleskill Hospital and then you go to Cooperstown. Everybody's on the same page. Everybody can see there's no you're going to have miscommunication somewhere. It's
oh yeah.
You can't get around it. But everybody knows what is going on with you because it's communicating in one whole system.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, that's wild that none of their shit communicates, and it's now you can see why people get fucked up.
Oh yeah.
I think I was dating my wife like only when we weren't married. We were only dating for like maybe 5-6 months, and Disgruntled was starting to do really well. And I was in New Jersey, and we had a veteran that was so frustrated at the VA, or at not at the VA, but at his VA clinic, because he couldn't go all the way to Pennsylvania or New York, so he had a local clinic, that he burnt himself alive on the VA property. Right.
Wow.
And that was because the guy worked a 9-to-5 job. And guess what time the VA clinic was open?
9 to 5,
Only
Monday
till
through
5.
Friday.
9 to 5, Monday through Friday. So how is a guy that's has to pay his bills, has to do all this stuff, how can he take off to go to a VA appointment? But that's his only option. So
and lose money from his job to get medical care that's probably going to cost him money anyways. So it's a double whammy.
Yep. So he killed himself by setting himself on fire. And the problem is, this is something that should have been like national news. You know what I mean? National news. No one covered it. Or if they did cover it, it was like, yeah, all they did was sweep it right under the rug.
Yeah.
And it's small things like that, I don't know. If you can't hire more people, then maybe why don't you take Monday off and push that to like Saturday or Sunday?
Yes.
Yep.
Just move your time frame so you can actually help people. But no.
Yeah. And there's a lot of businesses, I know, and it's weird, but like pizza shops, maybe not work Monday, but they're open Saturday, Sunday. Maybe not work a Tuesday, but are open Saturday, Sunday, because that's the biggest market. 90% of vets still want to work. They still do work. Most vets have 9-to-5 type jobs, or 8-to-4, 8-to-6. So again, like you said, why are we going and having these clinics open that are only open to a small amount of time, a small time frame, where again, you might have to take off time from work, so you're losing money there. So even if your closest clinic, which the closest one I know, at least around here, maybe I'm wrong, hopefully I'm not, is in Rotterdam, New York, which is a good 45 minutes away. So now you got to take at least 2 hours off, and that's just for travel time. That's not even going for your time in the clinic, time for your appointment or anything like that. Or you could go to Albany, which is, what would you say, Zach, an hour and change?
Yeah, about an hour and change
away. Again, so there and back, that's at least 2.5 hours plus your waiting time. So half a day's pay you have to lose to get told, well, you'll be all right, take some ibuprofen. Crazy.
Another story for you. I had a veteran. He came to us. He had an addiction problem, right? And so he was actively using. So like we had to do a lot of the leg work. So first thing we did was call all the inpatient programs around us, and to try and get them into an inpatient program. This was around COVID, so not only would none of them take them, but none of them took the VA insurance. So we called the VA. When I called, they forwarded me to a department that was no longer available. Like I got a voicemail that said, "Hey guys, this is not a department anymore."
Jeez.
My wife called. She got forwarded to someone. They go, "Oh, we don't do that here. Let me forward you on to someone who does." They forward her back to the first person she talked to. Right? So at that point, we're like, well, fuck, what do we do?
Circles.
Yeah. We then talked to someone else, and they were like, yeah, the VA, the closest inpatient VA was in South Dakota. And we're in Colorado.
Wow. That's a trip.
And it was like a 4-month waiting list. I was like, this guy's not going to be here in 4 months. Like he's like this close.
Yeah.
So I talked to one of my friends who runs a nonprofit called the DV Farm. They specialize in homeless veterans that have addiction problems. I was like, dude, how do you help these guys? And he's like, well, you have to tell the veteran to bring him to a VA, tell the VA that he's either suicidal or homicidal, And even if he's not, that will get him in to start the program to at least a 72-hour hold to then get him linked into other programs.
The keywords, the hot words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
that's
like,
bullshit.
How is this system so broken that we have to lie saying that we're going to kill ourselves just to get help?
Mm-hmm. It is. It's messed up. And that's, going back to quite a few episodes now that I'm thinking about it. I talked about the time when I was in a really dark zone and I did attempt suicide. And I was put up. So Fort Drum is really weird in the sense that, unlike most bases, they don't have their own hospital. They do. There's a St. Mary's, some place in Watertown. I forgot what it's called, but they have their own. Their hospitals are out. They're all civilian hospitals. They take TRICARE because that's their biggest moneymaker, of course. And insurance always rules medical care. And I got sent to a hospital outside of Fort Drum, and the closest unit or the closest clinic that could help me was down in Penn Yan, New York, which was about an hour and a half south of Fort Drum, in right south of Rochester, out that way. So you have, and I just look at it now, I was like, you have an active soldier who actively tried killing himself, but you're going to send him an hour and a half away from his home, and you can't do anything to help him. But we're gonna send you down there. And while I was down there, it was funny. The staff down there, they were amazing, really good people, great counselors. Like, it was a really nice rehab site, I guess, to clear my mind and get things right. They were closing up a week after I was leaving because all nurses were talking about it, and they said because they helped out too many people and a lot of the insurance charges were bounced back so that they couldn't fund it. So it's like a place that's actually helping people. Now the insurance company is ruling saying they can't fund themselves. Like, how did we go wrong as people, as humans, where, we're helping them, but you know what? Oh, the money's not there. Sorry, see you later.
So do you want to know why so many private practices won't take VA insurance? Because there's this whole bill out there saying, a veteran can go to a civilian doctor to get help. Right.
Yep.
Now, the problem is you have to find a private doctor that will take VA. Well, I have TRICARE for you.
TRICARE,
VA yeah. My wife's sister works, she does coding, right? And billing and all that kind of stuff.
God bless her.
Her most outstanding bills are all from the VA. The VA just doesn't pay.
No.
And so all these doctors, unless they have a heart that want to say, hey, I want to help veterans. If they don't, if they're all about the money, they just won't take VA. Yep. So it once again fucks us because the system is fucked.
The system fucks us.
Absolutely. I mean, 100%. So now, Chappie, you got me going down that rabbit hole, man. It just... So I'm not saying, and I'm sure I've been looked up 100 million times anyways from the FBI because of the crazy shit I've done. I don't promote terrorism. I'll promote domestic terrorism. If anyone wants to go down that life, they need to get help, personally. What I do believe, and my opinion, and again, this is just my opinion, my thoughts, nothing with attached to Triggered, I'll make that disclaimer, is we need to get rid of the whole entire system and start new. Just take out all these big insurance companies, all this shit, get rid of all the money, go back to the old bartering systems, go back to a good person is a good person, a shitty person is a shitty person, and if you're shitty, you get thrown off into the woods and told never come back here again. You get dismembered from your whole entire fucking community, your family member calls you out and says, you're a piece of shit, get the fuck out of here, and certain parts of my life, I was a piece of shit, and you know what? I got thrown out to the wolves. And you know what happened? I became a better person for it. I became a better person because I had to go through hardships and realized and looked in the mirror and said, hey, I'm a shitty person. I need a change. But we need to just get rid of the big pharma, all this shit. It blows my mind because, again, people who really need help, people who have cancer and all these other fatal ailments, they get, again, another side little thing. Sorry, Zach, I know I'm going down this rabbit hole. You have cancer, stage 4, grade 4, and you know you're going to die. But they won't give you some mushrooms or some pot to fucking help aid your pain. But
There's no money in it.
Yeah, but they'll juice you up.
There's no money. There's no money in the cure.
It just blows my mind. Like, but let's fucking burn your whole entire body from the inside out and hope that helps. Like, shit. It just blows my mind because of the money and the system and the industry. It just, they don't look at healing the way it should be. They look at it as the moneymaker. And if they can't make money with it, they're not going to do it. And it just frustrates me. I mean, and again, Zach, you saw my pills. I was taking over 45 pills a day because that's the way they were making money. Once I took things in my own hand, all of a sudden, oh, I'm not paying the pharmacy. I'm not paying this, but I found my own happiness. It blows my mind. Just crazy. And that's the end of my rabbit hole.
I'm sorry. I feel like I brought us down some crazy rabbit holes tonight.
No, it's all good.
That's what Trigger's about, is getting that stuff off of our chest. Because it is, man, like big businesses, I shouldn't say big businesses, like the pharma company and stuff like that. Like back in the day, you could take, and I'm still a big believer, a little honey, vinegar, and some chamomile tea helps your sore throat. But yeah, we're quick to go out and get Halls for $10 a bag for the same exact thing that I can make you that will make, like, I don't know.
And I think, circling back to, like, if we talk about the veteran community, why, just things like this, or like Disgruntled, or if you look at other organizations, we need to care about each other because no one else is going to.
Exactly.
And at least we can relate. We might not have all the answers. We might, but we can be there for each other. And that's why I feel like, things like Disgruntled, VFWs, Legions, we just need to come together.
Yeah. Yep.
Absolutely. I can't agree with you anymore, man. Zach, and you can definitely touch on this a lot deeper than I can. The motorcycle community, I'm not gonna say a hardcore rider, but I ride bikes because it's my therapy. It's part of my Chappy challenge, so to speak. And there's so many vets that ride because just getting that air, getting that, sense of their self, it's I don't know. The community is what we need as vets, because no one is going to stand up for ourselves but ourselves. And no one is going to fight for ourselves and the communities and the ones who are beating down the underdogs and all that besides ourselves. Because we've all been there. We've all been at the bottom of the barrel. We've all been a private, an E1, an E2, an O1, an O2, and we all understand where we come from and embracing the suck and sucking it up and dealing with the bullshit and, the first one to take off your mask because there was an alarm, it just, again, that's why we created this podcast, was because vets understand vets. That's why we say where vets get it. But at the same time, trying to educate the civilians because they don't really understand it, because it's a whole different game. It's a whole different world out there. And we're the only ones who are going to stick up for ourselves. We're the only ones who are going to be there for ourselves.
Yeah. And, when you're talking about civilians, I think that they're a very key part of helping us get better, to growing our community,
Absolutely.
to making, and I think the first ones off the bat are the husbands, the wives, educating them and letting them understand the veteran community is massive. It'll help you, because then if your wife understands and you're going through a PTSD attack, and instead of her yelling at you or causing or, triggering you, she can recognize it. And, she might not be able to talk to you, get you off the ledge, but she might know, hey, I know this resource, I know this resource, I can get him help.
This guy here, I'll tell you, me and Zach, man, we've called each other quite a few times in the middle of the night or whatnot, or our wives have contacted each other like, hey, hit Zach up or hit Tony up. They're a little off today because we get each other. And that's the way it is. It's like, but they recognize and see that, like, those small little triggers, like, oh, you're kind of quiet today. What's going on? Nothing. I'm good. I'm just going to go outside for a minute. When every other day you're lovey-dovey, or, there's just those small things like that really, it's huge, and we have a worldwide network. Veterans are worldwide. We have vets who are still living in Germany because they find it beautiful there. In Japan, I know a few Air Force guys who are in Japan because they absolutely love it there. They love the culture. So we're worldwide. Our friend, and I apologize if I pronounce your name wrong, Police Stafu out of Russia, and a lot of people don't understand either. A lot of countries inconclusive to America, other countries, as soon as you're 16, 18 years old, you're going to the military. You have to do a minimum of 2-3 years. So we're very lucky in America that we volunteer for it. So a lot of these other people, and unfortunately a lot of these guys, they don't have that choice, and they don't have the network like we have. So when we have other people contacting us from different countries, it's because we're still going through the same shit they were. It's just a different version of it. And to have people like him hopping on and saying, hey, how are you guys? We appreciate you, things like that. It's heartwarming to know we're touching more than just our country and our islands. It's throughout the whole world. And it's amazing to know that we're all fucked up in the head, but we have each other to talk about shit like that, like the VA, like PTSD, like, just this funny shit like you have on your page, having the small memes like Zach was saying, that I wake up and I see it and I'm like, yep, today's going to be a good day. Look at this one, babe. Check this out. This shit's funny right here. And she's like, what's that? And I'm like, all right, you don't understand it, but, I'll explain it to you later. So, Chappie, explain again once more where we can find you and Disgruntle Vets. I apologize. It's such a bigger page. Like, I remember first following and seeing like, okay, 5,000, 10,000. Like I said, I remember the gingerbread man, and I thought that shit was funny as hell. I thought that shit was hilarious. And then all of a sudden, it was like, boom, 100,000, 200,000. Like every time I was checking, it was like bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. I mean, almost 1 million followers now. It's over 500,000 followers. Like, where can we find you? Where can we follow you? Where can we get the merchandise? I mean, you guys got everything under the sun right now.
Yeah, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all Disgruntled Vets. We have a closed group called Disgruntled Underground, and that's just for veterans. And then also, you can find us July 23rd. We're hosting Disgruntled Vet Fest. It's our 4th year going. And this is a huge celebration of everything veteran. So we donate all the proceeds to 2 veteran nonprofits. We have veteran bands, other veteran nonprofits, vendors. This year we're trying to get a combat vet there, finger crossed. And that's here in Colorado Springs. And so hopefully we see you there. Tickets go live March 22nd.
Awesome. Cool. And awesome. Is that like a weekend thing or a one day, one night event? What's the details on that?
So it's just Saturday, but we set up events all weekend long. Everything from like smaller meetups. We have like a pre-party that Friday night. We have like a meetup that Sunday. It's a whole event. And then we also give you, this year we'll be giving everyone like what are they called? Like a passport, so they can go to different veteran-owned businesses around Colorado Springs. And like some of them are breweries, some of them are distilleries, others are like kid-friendly and stuff like that.
That's cool. Awesome, man. That's nice. So fucking cool. I don't know, Zach. We got some work on the east side to do now, man. We gotta catch up to this shit.
Yeah.
Fast in Middleburg.
Hey, you never know. We're live on their page, so we might get a couple more followers.
Yeah. I can go down the river. I saw some kayakers today. But that's awesome, brother. I'm so glad that you came on. You know,
I appreciate it.
Yeah, the respect and the appreciation is amazing. I know you're very busy, and it's just what you're doing is so amazing. And we need, again, like we say in every episode that we have special guests on, so many more networks and so many more veteran communities like this to help other vets, because without groups like yours and ours and so many others, we couldn't help the vet community, because just like you said, the vet community is not going to help itself. Like, we have to help ourselves. No organization, no government agency is going to help us. We did our time, or the people who are still in, like you said, reserves, National Guard, active. If you're listening, they're still there. You're still getting paid for whatever you're doing. But at the end of the day, personal self, they don't care. It's your number. You're a number. There's that little DOD, your little CAC. That's all you are. At the end of the day, once you do your time, you're done. Moved on. Yep. So, again, from Triggered, thank you so much, Chappie, for joining us tonight. It's been an amazing chat. We'd love to have you on again, as always. Because of the VA stuff, man, I mean, that's a rabbit hole that is like a whole 3-hour podcast of a shit show that can really be brought to life. Maybe you and Allie, we should hop on at the same time. Who knows? We'll stir that pot a little. But like we always say, guys.
All right, man. Stay triggered.